back from Orlando, and it was a bit of a crazy time. I know the delay and everything for the game, but still, once I got going, and I guess second half really got going, it turned out well.
It did, and maybe we need to figure out what we did the second half that was so much different because it was a tough time going in 7-0, and we were concerned at that point because of the fact that we turned the football over a bunch and not played all that well, but we did get back out the second half and played better.
How about as far as, I was going to ask you about injuries anyway, but
yeah, we got a couple guys linked up. Collett's got a little bit of a knee deal. He's day to day. We don't know exactly where he's going to be at by Saturday, but we're still trying to work on him a little bit. The rest of the crowd got some little nagging injuries, that kind of stuff, but that's probably the main one right now.
how about just the fact that you went down there through the delay, through suspended players and all that, y'all got to win.
Well, anytime you get through that first game, especially with all the obstacles we had out there, you feel pretty good about it. That was a good weekend up to the point that we got ready to play, and everything went like clockwork until 3:30. And we were I was in my pregame speech, getting ready to bring them out to go ahead and start the football game when they came in and said, "Hey, coach, we just had a lightning strike." And from that point on, it was kind of, are we going? Are we not going? Are we going? Are we not going? And we kept getting strikes in there. I think we went for about 2 hours before we finally got out. But I was glad that our fans stuck with us and got a chance to see us play. It was one of those kind of deals where I thought for a minute the game might be canceled. You saw games around the country that that they did either delay or cancel or do whatever. I don't know what we would have done if we had to, if we had to, maybe move to the next day or so. So it worked out for us, and I'm happy.
It was a bit of a trying time, but once you finally got out there, you could finally get the season going. So.
And I was really surprised that once we got out there, we were able to go right through it because I was expecting at some point or other to be removed from the field again, but we got all the way through it from that point. So I guess we were blessed in in a way that we got through the whole game.
How would you describe the first half and the second half? Like you said, it's a different half.
It was a tale of two halves. We played really well at the beginning. Defensively, we got them stopped and got the football to our offense, and offense got it down and got in. Had a couple setbacks within that drive, but we overcame some third and long situations to get into the end zone, and then we come back after that and just turn the football over. We kept, just constantly had different kinds of things happen that we gave the football back to them. And, they actually had a chance or two to score themselves because of the fact that we gave the football to them and, in pretty good field position. But our defense, stood up and made sure that did not happen. We come back out the second half and got a drive going. And then after that, then of course, then we got enough going that we actually kind of put them away.
How much better does it make you and the rest of the coaches feel that the second half things got going?
Well, a lot. If we won that football game, say, 7-0 or 10-7 or something of that nature, we'd be around here today really scratching our heads. So, we feel good about what we did in the second half. I'm still concerned that we went through what we went through that first half. Got a lot of new bodies. We played 13 freshmen, whether out of high school. We played 4 straight out of high school guys. The 2 kids on offense, the quarterback and the wide receiver, Canova McIntosh, and everybody knows Caleb. And then, on defense, we played the Gatherers kid and the Coastal kid. The defensive line, like their first time being on a college field. So we played a lot of new faces, and you add those to the redshirt guys that were here. We had 13 guys who were freshmen that played for the first time. So we still got some growing to do, but at the same time, we got to get a bright future with those kids. Just kind of getting started this early in their careers.
What all did you see that really, I guess, were positives that you look to build on this week's game?
Well, I guess the big positive was that we were able to mix it up some. We were able to throw the football a little bit. We were able to move the football methodically down the field, in different kinds of ways. We had some success throwing it and running it. And then I guess maybe the big success is got to be our defense. The fact that those guys, continue to, show that they've got some strengths that, that we can lean on some. We can actually, if we just do what we're supposed to do on offense, maybe punt the football back to some folks, make them drive the football down the field on our defense, I think that's a pretty tough chore. And you know, if we can continue to not give offenses or give teams, you know, scores or opportunities to score, you know, close to our goal line, then most times a lot of teams aren't good enough to drive the football on our defense.
It was obvious in the first half the defense was getting things done, getting 3 and out a few times.
Mm-hmm.
That was big for y'all just to kind of stymie what they had planned.
Really big, and you know, that needs to be, you know, kind of our style for the rest of the year, to maybe pin teams into that side of the field and continue to get good field position out of that, whereas we have a short field for our offense and a long field for our defense.
I know you talked about it all preseason about wanting to get the backup quarterback ready. Well, he came in and performed well, and now with LA's injury, I guess that's going to be key right now to have somebody healthy for the weekend.
It is. It's now imperative that we not only continue to develop our second team guy, York, our young kid that way, but we've also got to make a decision on a third team guy, you know, who can possibly be a 2 for us. Whatever happens that way, it's got to be another guy who we possibly thought we redshirted. So that might bring another guy into the fold that we may necessarily have to go ahead and play, you know, as a freshman. You know, I don't know if we could just be sitting there hoping that we don't have to play a guy at all if we get to that point and not have a guy who's played at all. So at some point or other, we're going to have to play that 3 because the possibility is that he might end up having to play.
How tough is that? I mean, just this first weekend of college football, you see BYU, Virginia Tech last night. Some teams lose a quarterback for the whole season on the first game. It's got to be tough to try to develop.
Let's hope that's not our case, yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, that is a tough deal in general. You know, when you work all preseason, you do all the things that you do,
Right.
you know, trying to get ready for the season, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's over before we get started good. So, you know, we'll see what happens, but at the same time, let's hope that we don't have to deal with that.
Definitely. And little nagging injuries here or there, you can deal with those for sure.
For sure. Oh, you're going to have plenty of those in a college football game. You can have some guys, you know, with some bumps and bruises, shoulders and arms and elbows, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you do expect them to get up and be ready to play the next week.
Well, I guess when you first think about the game now, a few days later, what really stands out to you that you saw that really, you know, looks like something that y'all can build on for this next week?
You know, you think that you've got an opportunity to, you know, develop a style of offense that could give us a chance to be, you know, pretty systematic in our approach. You know, we can get some things going within the system that we can operate and actually do at a real high level. Right. We think that this team can be one where we got a chance to be pretty good offensively. We need to continue to improve a little bit each week. We need to be able to continue to develop our, you know, offensive front in a way where we can protect our passes. We need to continue to be able to, you know, kind of coordinate our throw game in a way where our receivers can, you know, catch the ball at a high level. And then, you know, last but not least, we need to continue to be able to run the football. We need to be, though, kind of even, you know, in our approach to being able to do things so that people don't necessarily get a chance to hone in on what we are going to do in different situations.
I know the TV announcers were talking as if you were just going to be slinging it all over the field and throwing it everywhere, but I knew you were going to have some running.
Yeah, you got to run. You got to. Yeah, I don't know if you can be, you know, a good football team if you don't have a balance of sorts. I don't think you can be so heavily, you know, laden toward one particular phase or one particular style of play that you can, you know, be really good unless you got some kind of special talent person that way. So I think everybody seems to want to try to be balanced in a way. The one thing I can tell you is that you know, I think this team can be balanced. I think we can do both, and you know, we just have to see where we are in another couple of weeks. You know, after we get back into play again, you know, see where we improve from this week. They generally say that you improve as much as anything from the first week to the second, because you have that first opportunity to have, you know, some live actual contact with, you know, with a real competitive kind of way about you, and the fact that, you know, you got somebody really trying to beat you, so you get a chance to know more about your team. You know, I think our guys get a chance to know more about themselves, and some of them gain some confidence from it. You know, some of them may lose a little confidence from it. We hope that we mostly gain confidence in a way where guys feel good about their ability to go out and compete against the rest of our schedule.
I I know I was looking at the stats, she averaged about 3 yards a carry. I mean, adding Scoop back in the mix should help out
Let's
with
hope
that.
that does. You know, let's hope that does, and let's hope that we'll have a little bit better idea, you know, about how to attack the rest of our opponents in a way where we can run the football a little bit better. But it tells you that you know that we can run the football, but we need a little bit better push. We probably need more big plays out of the run game. All of our runs were, you know, of the short to medium variety. We need to get more of the big break, big long run kind of plays. We didn't have but about 8 big plays in that game. We call a big play a run of 10 yards or more and a pass of 15 yards or more. And we need at least 10 to 12 of those per game. 8's not enough. And you know, that's a sign of the fact that we need to, you know, improve on our explosiveness.
Looking forward to this weekend here. I mean, Coastal's coming off a win, and looking at their stats, Coastal ran about 4 yards a carry and apparently had pretty good offense to get by Furman. So what are you looking for in this game?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how we match up against this team. Coastal is a very, very, very good offensive football team, and they've been raving all preseason about how their defense has been dominating their offense. If that is the case, then that could be scary, because this might be the most polished offense that you're going to see, you know, in our division, even when they lost in the playoffs to North Dakota the last couple of years, those kind of things. You know, they were very, very competitive games, and, you know, North Dakota's been one of the best football programs in our division in some time. You know, the Ross kid, you know, the Henderson kid, the D'Angelo Henderson kid rushed for about 1,500 yards last year. He's a Somerville kid from right down the street. The Israel kid, the Map kid, the wide receiver core, you know, is very, very highly skilled. And then, you know, the Ross kid, the quarterback, is just really special. Very seldom do you find a guy who, you know, can throw it as well as Alex Ross can, but at the same time, you know, can run it too. And wants to run it. You know, he's an option style guy. You know, so he makes you, you know, play that phase of the game along with the fact that, you know, he can throw the hang out of it. So, you know, this is a tough deal. Now we got matched up against them. Then defensively, you know, they're real tough, and they run better than I've seen them run in a while. So they got some stout guys up front that can really run. You know, the defensive ends are tall, rangy guys, you know, who come off the edge and get after a good bit. And then they attack you from the secondary linebackers and that kind of stuff. They hadn't blitzed very much, but you know that capability does exist. They have blitzed us some. They did last year against us. So we pretty much expect them to come after us pretty much every snap again this year. And you know, we'll just have to see. And then they kick the ball. So they're not the number one team in the nation for, you know, by accident. You know, they got all of the ingredients. You know, when you talk about being number one, that means you must have everything, and they do.
How about just looking at the complete schedule this year? You had to see this as being a huge test early.
It is. Anytime you know, play these kinds of folk, you know, it kind of, you know, gives you a chance to get your attention. The best thing about it is that, you know, we get them in a way where, you know, we've known, you know, for a while, you know, what they're about. We bring them here. You know, we got, you know, as many advantages you can have in a situation like this now. You know, they pride themselves in going on the road and playing very, very well. You know, last week against Furman, you know, and Furman's really good. They got after Furman in a way where, you know, they were successful at that place. So we got our work cut out for them. And you can better bet that this team is one where, you know, they're used to playing pretty much anywhere, and you know, they come in here and play well against us here.
What kind of a building block for the rest of the season would this be if you could get a win in this game? And
well, I think it adds to both our strength and the strength of our leagues. I guess maybe reputation of sorts. Anytime you're trying to build some kind of respect that way, and you're talking about maybe a possible at-large berth in the playoffs, that kind of stuff. You know, if we were to get into our league and maybe not win our league, but have a win against one of these kind of guys, and maybe win 9 games or win somewhere in that neck of the woods games, then you got a chance to get into playoffs because of that particular win. You can always reflect back on that and say, hey, you know, we beat a Coastal. You know, they were number 1, something of that nature. So, you know, it's got an effect. And even if we were to win it and win our league, I think if our league was to play us close from that point, I think it will give a certain respect that you will still have a possibility of another team from our league getting into the playoffs that way as an at-large. So, it's all about, the strength of schedule. It makes our league, that way, and, that's what we're trying to get done.
After the trip and everything, how important is it that the next 2 games are home and y'all can stay on schedule here and get going?
Well, I don't know if you stay on schedule. I don't even know what day it is right now. We got back at the 4th day in the morning.
Right.
Yesterday, I think it was, and then we practiced yesterday. We practiced twice already since we've been back because we practiced yesterday afternoon. I think at maybe like 4:30, somewhere in that neck of the woods. Then we were out again this morning at 6:20. So we've gotten 2 full practices in the last, I guess maybe 24 hours or so. Maybe actually in the last 18 hours or so. So now we got another one tomorrow morning, but we back on schedule now. We would ordinarily be on our 3rd practice. That practice that we practiced on Monday would ordinarily have been on Sunday, with a day in between. Well, we didn't have that day in between to actually allow. So we got to go ahead and get it done as best we can. And then after that, then this Saturday, regardless what the situation is, then we got to come back and go next Sunday because the next game is that following Thursday. So we got our work cut out for us in a way where, we don't have enough time to do all what we need to get done. But they don't ask you, they don't give it an extra day or 2. They don't say, you know what, you're not ready to play on Thursday. Let's move it back a day or 2. So we got to go ahead and get it done.
Exactly. And like you mentioned, all the freshmen, they don't know any better because they don't know what college is about anyway. They're still learning. So.
Right. But now, we had a conversation this morning about the fact that they couldn't go back and get to bed. This morning after practice, they had to go to class.
Yep.
That's big, in the whole scheme of things. And not only did they have to go to class, but they had to go to class looking like somebody and ready, ready to actually learn something. Get to go in there bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. So it's a pretty tough day for these kids. But at the same time, it's good to go to class after you won a game. You can always stick your chest out and say, hey, we won, that kind of stuff. So I think that kind of gets them out as much as anything. When you get beat up on the road and then got to come back and do something like this and then still got to go to class, and that makes it tough. But, winning makes everything easier.
That's true. So everything's ready to go for this weekend, and you're back on a regular schedule, like you said.
I think we're back on schedule for this week. And, although we've, had a little bit of obscurity, a little bit of a impediment or 2 on the way there. We back to the point now where we ought to be comfortable. So we go from here.
How was it? Last question, really. How was it just to go from wondering who you're gonna have for backup quarterback and then having a kid ready to go that quickly from the preseason? I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Well,
the
the best part of the whole deal was that we had a guy prepared that we could use, if we needed to. The problem now is if we got to go to him. Where do we go from there? But you're right. To have a high school kid, with no summer work, ready to go that quick, is a testament to our staff and the fact that they did, a fantastic job. You got to think about, what all you got to do. This kid's got to, he's got to know signals. He's got to know formations. He's got to know plays. He's got to know the whole college game in a way, in a month's time that that most people would think it's pretty much impossible to get done in that short period of time. So, we talk about our coach, but the kid is a special kid too now to be able to do what he's done. And we got another one behind him who's working his butt off to try to do the same. So, we had a fantastic class. Now, this recruiting class, regardless of how you look at it, if you look at the wide receiver that we're playing, we're looking at 2 defensive players that we're playing, and we got some other kids that we kind of considered using this class. So, to have this kind of class, with some of the adversity that we had, during the off season, is what the real testament to our staff is, and the fact that they did a fantastic job of going out and get some good players for us.
I got one question. Last year, Coach kind of left a bit of taste in your mouth, but you returned about 7, 8 guys from that defense that played against Coastal. So how's the momentum with the guys this week? I'm pretty sure they're ready to get out.
Let me tell you what. We don't necessarily, y'all think about years more than we think more about games, and every game for us is a whole season. Right. So you kind of get into that, and then after that's done, you kind of let that go and go into the next game. We don't think that much about Coastal except for now that we're back looking at that film from last year and trying to make sure, that we understand exactly what went on there and how to not let some of that stuff happen again. But, it is time now for us to, to go out and redeem ourselves. You talk about, you know, owing Coastal. Well, what we really do is we owe ourselves. We owe ourselves the fact that we need to go out and play better. You know, it's not Coastal's responsibility to help us play better. So we got to play better because we didn't compete against them last year down there. And, you know, that's my fault. 99.9% of it's my fault. And, you know, I've got to do better.